Hey, everybody, welcome back into the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. We are in beautiful Columbus, Ohio, where the weather is always magical and amazing. And it is a Tuesday. It's not Monday. So it's an actual appetizer Tuesday. That's going to be out in a minute. They're preparing some onion feathers for
shake that tail
feather. We'll talk all about that. That's Justin Zwick and Bob and Bill Landis. I am Austin Ward. And it's that magical time of year, Bob.
It is.
Kickoff times.
Where do you go to Disney World?
That's right. I made it. I'm back. And mostly
survived.
I survived. And came back and found out that there's a night banger in November.
Penn State. Oh, no. I thought you were talking Penn State, Iowa.
No. Well,
the real whiteout. Bill is fired up.
That's right.
Hey, it'll be the most riveting 13-9 matchup of the year.
Can't wait for it.
You know how sad Penn State people are now that Fox has the first selection? So every year, Michigan and Ohio State are scooped up. So, hey, you know what you can get? Wisconsin, maybe in Iowa. If you're real lucky, even a Michigan State. I mean, but I don't know. They reserved the Michigan State night game for Ohio State this year.
That tradition has sort of petered itself out in terms of broadcasting.
Yeah, I don't think it has the same effect at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't.
So bright out here.
They're doing they got like West Virginia in their opener. They're doing a helmet stripe, so it's all white except for the middle is going to be blue.
That would have been the whiteout to me. Like West Virginia, proximity. Like you're going to get some Wild fans coming over from Morgantown. Lots of parking lot fights.
Ooh, yeah.
And West Virginia, that'll be a fiery game. Like I think that would have been perfect. It'll be hot, steamy. People just getting lubed up all day long like that. I think that would be been a better game than Iowa.
It will definitely be a better game than Iowa.
More compelling and entertaining. Like that. I know it's not a conference game, but that seemed like if I'm looking at the schedule, like okay. Ohio State's on the road this year. Michigan, that's going to be a nooner. This West Virginia game looks like it could be pretty good. You know, it's a big non-conference clash.
Big rivalry, right?
For people who don't realize, like Morgantown is super close to Happy Valley. I mean, outside of Pitt, it's probably about the next closest.
It's like 4 hours away.
Yeah, I mean, which for Happy Valley, which is somehow 6 hours from everywhere, it's pretty close.
Yeah, so you have the backyard brawl with Pitt, and then you have like down the street brawl with Penn State. I think that's what they call it.
The front, yeah.
Front yard brawl.
Those pieces are falling.
That is more like a front yard. in the fight in the front yard.
Moving it up front.
It's like an episode of Cops.
James Franklin doesn't let anyone in his backyard anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But those pieces are falling into place, and you can sort of start picturing how the schedule is going to work out for Ohio State. That meant a night game in mid-November.
November 11th.
It's
the latest night game in Ohio State Stadium history, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a no from me, dog. I don't.
Is it the time of year or is it the opponent? Because
it's everything.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm venturing to guess if I shake my magic 8-ball right here. Okay. I said, will this be one of the 2 premium ticket games for Ohio State? It said prospects likely. So that's going to have probably a face value of about $1.75. Yeah. For maybe like a 3-6 Sparty rolling in,
for
hoping to cash.
Halftime.
Yeah, if you took the over on their 4.5 win total at that point, you're just hoping, looking at the next 3, can we scrape out one here?
Well, Bill and I talked about it a great amount on the podcast daily this morning, so I won't rehash all of it, but I was curious what you two thought about this, all the ramifications that it means. Like, this game was chosen in mid-May to be a night game. They're not using a 6-day window. They're not waiting to see if Mel Tucker actually earns his paycheck this year, which he won't. They're not waiting to see if it's 2 top 25 teams or a top 10 matchup. They're saying right now, they're putting their marker down. This game has to be primetime on NBC, streaming on the Cock.
So, well, it's not streaming on Peacock, thankfully.
Well, it sounded awesome.
Simulcast.
Oh, they're simulcast.
Okay.
CBS is also doing it on Paramount Plus.
There's a whole really?
Yeah.
So the CBS games will be streamed on Paramount Plus?
They need a new name for that one. Something that I can make fun of.
The Mount.
Mount?
It's the PP.
It's on the Mount. On the PP. There you go.
Streaming on the
I don't know
PP.
if I can get away with calling it the P plus, but
time to get on the mount. I mean, whatever you want to do.
Mount up.
Mount up. It's time to mount up for the 8 o'clock night game. I mean, here's the reality of it. So when you look at the scheduling stuff, CBS. I was on with I went off campus yesterday with my man Jacob Hester, and so I didn't realize this. CBS still has the SEC contract for 1 more year. Yeah. So they're going to be oscillating back and forth between like 3:30 window for the SEC and then some of the night window for Big Ten, depending on how that shakes out with their agreement with ABC, ESPN having some of those first, like some of the rights in there. And I mean, it's all so confusing. You can only get like so many picks. It's like it's thinking like snake fantasy draft, except you're penalizing like one or two people in there. And it's tough. So Peacock and NBC are going to have some of the night games. CBS will have some of the other night games. They'll switch back and forth. I believe after this year, basically NBC will kind of have that exclusive window.
They're paying for $7 billion.
There will be an exclusive game, I believe, only on Peacock at some point in time, which I doubt that'll be the Buckeyes. Could I interest you in maybe like a Rutgers-Maryland matchup for that?
Well,
I think that in order to get Big Ten fans accustomed to this is
the hoops has like 40 games or something.
Yeah. I think that Bill and I, were spitballing that NBC may be wanting to push a game through like Ohio State, Youngstown State, or something like that.
You know how angry
used to it. I understand, but that's the way it works when you're.
I know they did it.
Money.
No, they did with Notre Dame and Toledo a couple years ago, and I mean, you talk to the guy who for 65 years has watched Notre Dame on NBC. It's like, hey, well, what channel is it on? Who was I talking? Our producer yesterday, he goes, Sean, he's like, I was trying to explain it to my grandpa. He goes, on my Roku, he goes, where are the numbers? He's like, where are the numbers? He's like, Grandpa, there are no channels on here. Like, how do I get to where I need to go then? Then that's the reality. Like, you're telling someone that, wait, all I can envision is Robert Duvall in Four Christmases with his television there. They buy him the satellite. And it's like, what do you mean I can't get the game on this? Well, your TV's a radio, number one. So you have to get it on an app. Well, how do I get the app? Well, you need this little device because it's not a smart TV. By the way, your TV doesn't even have an HDMI hookup.
And you're going to need Wi-Fi.
And you're going to get Wi-Fi.
To go with it.
And here's another reality. And, Bill, I mean, this like through much of the Midwest, if you don't live in like an urban center and you get like 2 miles outside, there's a decent chance your Wi-Fi and cable, like that's not the greatest thing in the world.
It's terrible. My wife her parents live in Marysville outside, and they have no internet. I mean, they don't have internet.
They got Honda.
They don't have Wi-Fi. It's incredible. I hate going out there because my phone never works.
My parents,
it's terrible.
My parents just got their stuff upgraded to be able to like do it, and it's still like not great. My brother, it's like can't get past. My brother was like a quarter mile away, and for some reason there's a road it cannot cross. I don't know, some sort of like force field up there that they can't get. I'm like, you can't bore it under the ground or have a telephone. I mean, we've got poles running. Like that's real. So for a lot of people, if you do that, I mean. Ooh, Lord. I mean, there might be some very angry fans. You saw with Notre Dame already, I'm sure. You said if they're trying to slide Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan in there for an exclusive game, and that is the only – I mean, remember when they had it on Big Ten Network?
Yeah.
I mean, and that was in a channel that existed. You just had to buy it additionally that you could tell someone, hey, this is the number. Push it in, and it will come up. This is like a 5-step process. And what if I want to watch some of the other games? Well – Grandpa, we got to pull up out of the app.
We got to go back to the homepage. You got to go to another app and turn that one on.
That is the main flaw of the streaming situation. Absolutely. If someone out there can find a way to solve that to where you can oscillate between apps without unloading and reloading and like losing. By the time you get there, the commercial's already over and you're like, oh, it's done. It's been 2.5 minutes now.
There's no such thing as channel surfing for apps.
Lock you in and keep you in. So that is not a great scenario.
What about Jay-Z? Just the logistics of playing at night in Columbus, or let's say anywhere else, Madison, Wisconsin. Night games, like that seems to be the direction that you're going. You don't make these billion-dollar television deals without giving the partners something they want, which is a primetime opportunity, because they are not. NBC and CBS are not taking the same business approach as Fox, which has carved out Big Noon. It's successful. We know that it's coming at the expense of some for Penn State, some whiteouts for Ohio State.
Some blackouts.
Whatever.
For the fans.
For the fans.
That they really want, right? Like, every time this conversation comes up, I understand that the fans want it. They believe that the atmosphere is better. They like it better. You have all day to tailgate. Understand all that stuff. But this is the way things are going, and I don't think there's any turning back on that part.
No, there is. And I mean, when we were there, I think we had one of the first night games in a really long time at Ohio State with that Texas game, right?
Well, the Washington game.
Well, Washington, I guess was a couple years before
that. Then we had Texas, but we would have like one every other year.
But it wasn't that. But it was kind of cool.
Special.
It was. It was one of those things where it's like, yes, you felt like you were back in high school. Friday Night Lights. You're getting back, not used to playing at noon on a Saturday, like waking up at 7 o'clock and having to do breakfast and getting through all that stuff. So it was a special
Force the
deal.
co-eds to scrape themselves out of bed. Choke down a beer at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of
Get out
atmosphere
of
is
bed.
that? They're still coming in from the night before. They're not ready to go out and do it again the next day that early. But
It depends on your level of
well,
competitive stamina,
fair
JC.
enough. And I guess I didn't have that in college, so I don't see that. But I love the night games. I don't love Michigan State coming in and being our night game.
If they were good,
100%, that'd be awesome. And they have played us well.
Even the year they were good, we still smoked. It was that the 45-0 at halftime?
I think
42.
it was 49 to nothing.
Was it 49? Did we score on
It
7
was like
possessions?
touchdown.
And that was up there, right?
It was here,
Yeah,
and they
no,
were
here.
11 and
That
2.
was the game.
Oh, that's
Mel
true.
Tucker
Yeah,
hadn't signed his contract yet.
That's
He went
right.
back
He went
into
to halftime.
and he was like, "Can you send me that DocuSign again? I can't.
You guys have Wi-Fi in here?
Wi-Fi. Like, I got to get this deal out. It's way too much money. It's $93 million, and I'm losing by
And
7
I'm getting
touchdowns.
smoked right now. Yeah,
Somebody realized that this is all a fraud.
that part is wild. I don't know why they jump on that one, but I do like the night games. I think the fans love it. I think the players still like it, even if you are getting more of them in one year. If you have 1 or 2 or 3, I don't think the players care. I think it's fun for them being out underneath the lights. It's different. That place is electric at night. I mean, you get the fireworks going. I mean, it's just a whole different feel, I think. So it's not going to be a huge game. They're going to try and hype it up to be a big game, but I still think it's fun for the kids to go out and have a good time.
I think 2 is probably about the magic number. Like, if you can
And that used to be what it was until Urban came.
Yeah.
And then Urban was just like, I want night games. I want prime time.
Yeah.
I got to have it. And
I
then,
I don't need to wait all day to see Youngstown State or Toledo or even Michigan State for that matter.
Yeah.
When it's a good game and it warrants it, you got Penn State coming in, great. You have a good Iowa or Wisconsin, emphasis on good. You get Notre Dame coming in, the big non-conference game, good Big Ten home game outside of Michigan. So Penn State year.
It's like, why not Wisconsin? Well, I guess we're at Wisconsin.
That's the problem.
That would have been the big one.
This is a
with
rough
Luke coming back into the
This is a rough
it's
home slate.
schedule,
Outside of Bills, Nittany Lions, I mean, there's not a whole lot here to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
So there's that reality. So you're not probably going to have a second tier night game is basically what it is, because Fox they're going to gobble up as much Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan as they can. Because here's the other part of that. The other big dog that you're bringing in, big dog and a half for tier 1 rights, you can't play their home games at Big Noon. I mean, you can.
No.
But someone's
They might
like,
try.
how does a 9 a.m. Rose Bowl filled with 10,000 people sound for you
That would be
kicking
generous.
off? I mean,
have
well,
fun
that's
with
what
that.
Ohio State fans, because they'll be on that same clock, so it won't be as big for them.
How does the sun rise over the San Diego Mountains? Let's look to you all.
Does it look as pretty?
That is pretty. Ooh,
Probably
baby.
not. Probably not.
But, like, that's the other thing. You're not going to be able to put them in there unless they're playing a road game.
Yeah.
So that'll be the only time. So whenever they're here, like USC, UCLA, kiss that thing goodbye as a night game. That will be the big Fox, Big Noon. Fox will jump all over that, because whenever they're at home, they're probably going to be that CBS or NBC window, which kudos for them.
Yeah. There's so many. Bill and I talked about it. I don't know how much his mind has changed on that since yesterday, but there are so many ramifications for this. A lot of it is moving around the biggest games, and we've had several years to acclimate to Big Noon, and where Ohio State, Penn State is going to be. The game is always going to be at noon. That's not a new adjustment, but you're just looking at trying to figure out what the traditions look like, what the biggest games look like, and what that means moving forward, especially if there's a potential for the Big Ten to go to a 10-game conference schedule, replace some of these marquee non-conference games so that you have more television inventory. You're playing USC and UCLA. Does that mean that you're kicking to the curb the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Texas?
I hope not.
Washington's already out, but that's got to be a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they're not getting any value out of them anymore the way that they thought that they would. What's the point of playing these marquee non-conference games if the College Football Playoff Selection Committee doesn't actually give them any extra weight if you lose?
I think
they're not doing that. They're only focusing on what's in the loss column. That hasn't changed at all.
I think if you get the win, though, you get the home game.
Well, I mean, we'll see, but I don't think Ohio State wants to be the first one to say, because that's what they did for the last 10 years. We're going to beef up that schedule, and we're going to force that change. Guess what? It didn't happen.
Where's the beef?
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I think that could be true. I don't get terribly worked up about that, because I honestly don't know what college football is going to look like by the time those games roll. The first one I think is 26, right, or 2025 maybe. So it's still 2-3 years away. Like we could be having super conferences by that point, and the schedules could be totally reworked. So It makes me curious. Like if Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State all still see value in it, I hope they do because I love those games. But I am a little nervous that they're going to go away. I'm a little nervous about like the death of the prime time like marquee, even a conference matchup. I don't know what's going to happen with that. The one thing that does give me a little bit of hope is if you think of what CBS has done in the past with the SEC games, like they'll put LSU Alabama. They'll move it from 3:30. I
think they were
to
allowed to flex 2 to the PM.
Yeah.
Like Hester gave me all their stuff down
So
there. I think they're able to take 2 night
I'm hopeful
games.
that they'll do that because if Fox grabs those games, we know what time they're going to be. If CBS grabs them, maybe there's the chance to put a Penn State, Ohio State still in an 8 p.m. time slot. I'm not super hopeful for it, but I think there's a little bit of a glimmer there with CBS involved.
Why does Ohio State Michigan have to be at noon?
Because that's the way it's always been, buddy.
I will say this.
Except for your senior
Except for my
year.
senior year 1 versus 2. Nobody complains about that being a 3:30 kick. It was a
The
great
field
game.
was destroyed, and it was a mud mess.
It was terrible, but that was because we played on it in camp. I'm just saying, like that was the biggest game in a long time. 1 versus 2, 3:30 kick.
Yeah.
Lights came on in the second half. It was
I've
pretty
had a
sweet.
had a cool feel.
It was awesome.
Watching that on TV.
I just say everybody says, "Oh, it has to be noon," and I understand why they went to the big noon kickoff. You're gonna get a lot of eyes on them, but I just don't feel like it has to be cemented into noon. I just don't understand that.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I mean, other than it's the last Saturday in November, and you don't. They always talk. One of the other
70 degrees last year when we played that game.
Well, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Could have worked.
Could I interest you on moving that game back to prior to Thanksgiving?
Or anywhere else on the schedule because when they scrap divisions, you're going to have.
We're going to play them again in the next week. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I mean,
I do like it. At
odds
the end
of
of
the whole schedule getting moved up in a couple years is probably pretty decent.
It absolutely
Yeah,
has
it needs
to
to
happen.
be. Yeah.
Week 0 has to be part of the conversation.
What is before week 0 then?
-1.
Okay.
-1. That's where it goes.
Week
I think.
-1.
I'm sure they'll come up with something better than actual numerical scale, but week 0
be a
doesn't make
play-in.
any sense either. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all just. How about week 1 just moves up to the middle of August?
Yeah, let's just do that. How about that?
Maybe that makes it easier. I don't know.
That seems like the next logical thing. So that would move that game. Like you said, I hope they don't move that game off. Now playing them back-to-back weeks,
I can understand that.
that could be weird. I mean,
Yeah, you don't know until you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first year that was the big worry, and then Ohio State wasn't even eligible for the game, so it didn't matter. Michigan didn't make it, so it really didn't matter.
Didn't matter at all. And then last year, if we were in the future, they could have potentially played back-to-back weeks. They would have played back-to-back weeks because everybody else in the Big Ten had at least 2 losses, but that didn't come to be either because of the division alignment. But that's going away.
What about a scenario where they play the regular season game, play the Big Ten championship,
And then play again.
And
and
then
then
play in
play
the
a
playoff.
third time like 3 weeks later in the playoff?
I love a good trilogy. I love a
Good
trilogy.
trilogy.
They say in the third installment of the trilogy, all rules are off.
You have to break everything. that
Anything
happened
can
before.
happen.
Yeah, that would be great. Let's sign up for that. I mean, that really, that's again a part of the way that college football is changing with so much money pouring in from the broadcast partners that those traditions don't matter. Like Ohio State and Michigan are going to play 3 times. Great, let's do it. Sounds like a great way to make a lot of money. It also sounds like a way to fatigue your audience on something that used to be really special.
No fatigue.
Oh.
You know what I've heard a term?
Competitive
thrown out there?
stamina.
Competitive stamina.
You have to have it to go
Gotta
through
have
all
it.
3.
You go through all 3, man.
Do you get
Can't
3
get worn
sets
down.
of gold pants if you sweep?
You know what these guys are going through on the field? They
You know
need to
what?
the fans need to go through it in the living room.
That's maybe you get
Come
one.
on.
Maybe you get one pair of pants with 3 legs.
Hey, you gotta win. You gotta win all 3 though. It depends on how many you get. You get 1 leg,
You go
2
1
legs,
leg,
or 3 legs.
Well,
Let's go.
You don't ever want to wind up with a 1-legged pair of pants.
No,
No.
never. That's bad news.
Shut
You're gonna have a
Walking
bad
around with a
day.
chain with one pair, one
I think that.
How many did you get? Well, I got this one. It has 1 leg. This one has 3.
I got 4. I got 5 legs in my career.
That piece of
We
jewelry
played 10 times.
would look a little wild.
I mean, it looks however you want it to look.
What else is going on, Bob?
Well, I know this is that the onion feathers have appeared. Ego has landed, and they are delish. It is crispy onion petals,
So good.
fried. and
Was it tail feather sauce?
The plucking sauce.
Plucking sauce. How we always want to say
it's got a little horseradish in there.
It's
It's
yummy.
like the spicy ranch with a little horseradish, so don't confuse them. They have put a dash on them, so you don't. My wife did the other a couple weeks ago.
That's a bad day.
Yeah, she was pretty upset
You're
about it.
dipping your wing into that.
Oh, she had a salad with it on it, so it really was not happy. Really was not
Found
happy.
a combination at Roosters that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But they're $3 all day long. Appetizer Tuesday is a Thursday.
Freeze day.
You've still got some time to make it down after watching the show, or come down, watch the episode while you're here and getting your appetizer Thursday.
There's something on tonight. They can come in tonight and watch some kind of sporting event. I
NBA
imagine.
Finals, NBA Western Conference Finals.
Lakers Nugs tonight. Yeah.
Lakers, Nuggets.
Lakers Nugs.
Some super boosts out there if you need to hop on that. Your
I
app
don't
of
know what
choice.
that means.
I think there's hockey on too. I think the Eastern Conference Finals start tonight.
Starting to heat up.
Hey, let's go sports.
Panthers Hurricanes, that classic.
Yeah, classic
Wow,
Panthers.
I love it.
Hurricanes.
Traditional matchup.
NHL's loving that. You got Stars cracking.
Anyways,
Stars-
get in here and
Stars
get
Vegas-
some
Stars Vegas
onion
now.
feathers.
Oh yeah, Stars Vegas because the Stars beat the
Stars won
Kraken.
last night. Yeah.
They shut the crack down.
I sure did.
Got to close the Kraken. Any actual football on your mind right now, Bill?
I don't know. Is USFL going on? Is
No, I
that-
don't
is
think
that-
so.
No, well,
is that
XFL just had their championship last weekend. The underdogs came through. I watched a little bit of
I
it.
don't know if I could name one.
That wasn't the
JC
team.
was-
That's not the name of the team. The underdogs.
Underdogs?
I would have believed you.
I didn't watch a single
They
second
were-
of USFL football.
No, it was the XFL.
No, I'm looking.
Oh, that's over?
I'm
Okay.
looking.
Yeah,
forward to,
they're world champions.
Oh,
A blue and white team. I don't know where they're from.
I think the
Battlehawks.
only taste of football we get around here anytime soon is when the recruiting camps start up and Berm is watching the high schoolers, and then you and I can watch the actual Ohio State players.
that is my favorite part. We're still a
that's
couple
the
weeks
best.
away from that.
We are, like 3 weeks. Yeah.
So the countdown is on.
Is high school having practice right now? they allowed?
May 15th, I think they're.
So that's today.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
because I thought I saw something from Tiger Land up there. They had the
Yeah.
kids out there early this morning in the dark with the lights on at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium,
boy.
I will say this:
getting things going.
I was
I didn't want to, turn them in for a violation if it wasn't allowed.
I believe May 15th was the date, so that is
Good.
today. I was up in Canton, over at Canton McKinley. I know you. Boo them. I did drive through Massillon.
Yeah. Oh,
On,
all right,
Awesome.
all right, Lancaster. Okay, Lancaster.
I drove past Massillon. We were headed up there to do a lacrosse tournament up. That field, the stuff that they put around the Hall
Over
of
by
Fame,
the NFL. Oh, it's amazing,
it's
isn't it?
remarkable.
Yeah.
The lights, and they've got like 8 fields. It's got a Ferris wheel, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, I heard that was going in. Is it up already?
Yeah,
All
they got
right.
the Ferris wheel
All
going.
right.
We pulled up like, is there a fair here? I'm
They
like,
don't play around.
I go, I think they're putting an indoor water park somewhere around here. The Hall of Fame is like,
It's a village. It's the Hall of Fame
everything else
village
is like
now.
going around it. Like, it's such a minimal part, and it's
Yes.
really sweet.
You're
But
doing a nice job.
they've done a great job there. And I know the NFL's pumped a ton of money into it.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, hey, the one thing you can always play on is the vanity of wealthy humans. And so if you're going to start, the best thing you could do is induct these owners and put them in there and thinking, hey, I want to make sure that when we come
When
here,
your
this
family
place,
comes here, don't you want it to be nice?
sweet, hey, absolutely, get us a hotel. Boom, right
And
there.
boom. Right.
Here's a check.
We're
Put that
gonna watch
water,
the game from the hotel.
put that water park in over there. We want people to come here and to see my bust.
Yeah.
Destination
like-
to come see Jerry's bus.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
All
is
right.
a destination.
So it is Appetizer Thursday. We're going to take a quick break here in Roosters. It is a fun, casual joint. When we come back, Berm's going to be here.
Swap and burn for Bill.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They will always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back into Roosters. It is the second half of the live show in the Horseshoe Lounge, and Berm is here.
I was here the whole time.
What? What?
And
Where did you come from?
And I want to be very clear about something.
Giving away all the secrets.
Don't you ever say streaming on the cock ever again.
Nope. There's no way I'm stopping.
I thought it was
That-
great.
Is a bridge too far.
Staple of our show now.
You think that I'm going to stop
Anytime. I
making-
hope we get
I mean,
all of our games on
making
there.
fun of them naming their streaming network?
Let's
the
just hope
Peacock?
that South Carolina never plays on that network.
Oh,
Oh, Bill like that one.
that sounds great. Did you hear they're trying to bring
The
back
promos for that weekend's games
The
would be insane.
Gamecocks on the Peacock?
I mean, that's not that crazy. What are you talking about?
They're
Gamecocks on the Peacock.
I saw where they're trying to petition to bring back the name that they voted on when they opened it up, like General Coxman, or what did they want to name? What was
because you see those hats?
What was
General Coxman?
You don't know that they had like some name like that they were going to name the Rooster for down there.
Do they still make the old hats that they used to have? Yeah, they still make those.
They're Cock Commander?
Cock Commander. Yes. That's what they wanted to name it. Yeah. They opened it up to naming the new mascot.
It got 100% of the votes,
yes.
didn't it?
Yeah.
Why would you?
I hope so.
Why would anybody else?
Honestly, we should just.
Why would you ever put
Ohio State did that? That thing would win here.
This episode.
No.
Nope.
This is the best.
Also, do you know that remember when Ohio State played Illinois in like November 1st in a night game in 2014 for some reason? Like I was like,
in the pouring rain.
It was like 30 degrees.
On BTN.
It was awful.
I don't think it actually. I think
it was an 8 o'clock
late
start.
October.
It was an 8 o'clock start. It was November 1st.
Didn't they play Penn State or Nebraska a couple years?
2016
years ago, and it was snowed at night.
2016 was their last November night game that was in a non-COVID year for Ohio State. So there's only been. You look at this.
Maybe it was in October. It may have, but it's snowed.
Penn State was on Halloween a couple years ago.
Yeah.
The Penn State or the Illinois game in 2014 was on November 1st, and I remember that one just because that was like Brandon Bowen was there on his official visit, and he was wearing shorts, and it was like 25 degrees, and everyone made a big deal about it for some reason.
This guy's tough.
Yeah,
so you were petitioning for these November night games, right?
I know, no.
Yeah, you love those. That's what I heard. You love to be down there in the
I
weather.
don't mind them at all.
But there's lots of dudes that come in.
So many dudes because it's a night game.
If we're indoors, I'm fine with it.
The dudes come out at night.
Well, there aren't a lot of options for Ohio State to be indoors in November.
Well, isn't that what we should be talking about next?
A dome.
Building a dome on the shoe?
Isn't it time? Someone asked on the YouTube channel the other day, like one of the topics they wanted us to broach on a show was how long does the current iteration of the Horseshoe last, and what do they do to modernize it and keep up with the times and blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. First of all, it's 100 years old. It was a engineering marvel when they built it.
Might be 101 by now.
It was the first. It'll be that in June, I think. It was the first
Happy birthday,
concrete stadium of that magnitude in the United States. At that point in time, most stadiums were built by brick. It encompassed a lot of Roman architecture. That's why it had that's why it's got the little tiles out the top, the columns,
rotunda.
The house that Harley built. I mean, he was an architect major.
It was. No, I don't know if he actually designed it. I think he just filled it out. I don't know. I think they have maxed that bad boy out on its frame about as much as possible. They'd have to basically like SoFi that thing and build some sort of roof.
Bill and I we were just desperate.
It would cost like $1.5 billion.
Yeah, we were desperate for content over the last few days when we were trying to figure out something to talk about, and we just decided like when the nuclear holocaust comes, all that will be left are cockroaches in Ohio Stadium. You cannot. That thing will not come down.
They're not getting rid of it.
Well, they've tried
to get rid of it,
not to get rid of it, to upgrade it as in pieces as they go and modernize it. You know, there'll be like one section of, C deck that they close during the spring, and we've seen that for some.
They repaint it and they replace the benches,
upgrade stuff. They've tried to,
Wi-Fi.
enhance the Wi-Fi. I think with relative success.
It's just putting routers up other places. What do you mean? Like you actually
That's big time, Bob. That's big time.
You act like you have to hold on. We brought a structural engineer.
You know how much red tape there was to get those routers put up there in that stadium?
To enhance the Wi-Fi, we brought a structural engineer. Yeah, just put it right there. I mean, like, what are we talking about?
They have this.
Put them on the floor.
What they put in is like this expanding bandwidth. So it's actually the worst when you get there at 9 in the morning. And we're not able to support this.
You need a bunch of people.
You can't get on. You have to have more people for it to actually work.
Oh.
What the hell does that make any sense?
So it makes it really easy for you guys after the game.
Trying to post an availability report that's subject to change 5 minutes later or not even accurate in the first place. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have the internet.
But then it doesn't work on the field either way.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
That's all right. I mean, they figured it out.
The players aren't checking in at halftime.
Well, I mean, you don't want, coaches getting
play some bets at halftime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it works in the locker room. But can't we just build a dome?
Good.
Yeah, let's do it.
Some sort of retractable thing that just goes from the top of the press box over,
You better talk to the guy. You probably talk to the governor. I mean, I don't know if we're
one of those on my patio. You just gotta roll it out. Get the hand crank going. The sun blocker.
A sunset or retractable awning. Is that what we're talking about?
What I'm
Perfect.
talking about.
I mean,
that's easy.
We're talking about not being able to winterize them. Like, just turn some heat on.
That's what they really should do. Is
just crank the heat up.
Field and put heaters underneath the field so that
They
it's
could do
safe.
that.
And
They
then
could-
put grass back down.
They could do
easier
that.
to do.
They could subterranean.
like
I mean, it would take time. It costs. Hey, I once heard an engineer tell me this when we were getting ready
Chick
to do some well, it wasn't Chick, R.I.P.
He's an
been
architect.
gone. But he said, hey, all it costs is time and money.
That's
I mean,
if you got that.
Is there any of that?
he's like,
around
we can
town
do
at all?
anything you really want. It's just a matter of time and money. I'm
George Vandalay in here and figure this
Ohio
out.
State has had to
Vandal
pull,
Industries?
they've had to pull up their field 6 times in the last decade, right? Like let's
Yeah.
just put some pipes underneath there and heat the
You could
Pipe
do
it
that.
up, man.
I don't
yeah.
think it's that. I think it's more a function of the restrooms and the heat. But I'm like, just heat it up. Put some heat tape on those paint on the pipes. Just get some more blowers there. Who cares if we're just blowing it into the air? Nobody cares about the environment when we're
Net
talking
zero.
about sports.
Net zero.
Get out of
okay?
here. We talk about sports. You're
Zero
flying
waste
teams all around.
In the horseshoe.
I mean,
Zero.
listen. I watch those. Yeah, right. They
There's
usually-
never been a single piece of trash wasted in the horseshoe.
People just throw. Yeah, right. Guys drink half a Gatorade. And throw
Don't
them in
walk
the trash and
outside.
just walk out.
Don't walk in the parking lot though.
Exactly.
It is a war zone when you leave.
It does. It does.
If you've never had the experience of being in the horseshoe 2 hours after a game and you just take a little strollsy-woolsy through A deck, you would be amazed by what you find there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you found a human like body
It's
parts.
just somebody passed out. Hey, guy, game's over. Gotta go.
I mean, it's early Sunday mornings after a night game. If you get out there, I guess the dawn is rising. You could probably shoot the opening scene to like 28 days later, like some sort of post-apocalyptic scene.
What happened here?
Just like there's nobody here, but there's remnants of a lot of activity. Like people just
They all died.
just Thanos just snapped and everybody disappeared.
And all their airplane bottles just fell to the ground. There are so many.
Okay, speaking of that, we're talking about getting the horseshoe ready for November. I mean, I've got the heat tape, cranking heat,
Yep.
get some heaters in there.
You got
We'll
it
be
solved.
Oh, yeah, bring your truck down. You,
We can
you
get it done.
set that thing up
We
real
can get it
easy.
done.
Yeah.
Just call my guys.
Call the Carpenter crew.
All the car, we'll get it done for you. We can
That's right.
take care of anything. But our guy Schlegs, I was always aware. We talked about the shankability
He
factor.
means Anthony Schlegel.
Schlegel. He refers to that as being gas station ready. What is gas station ready, you ask? If you're unaware, that means if you're pumping gas, always make sure you're pumping gas with your back to the car if you're in a sketchy neighborhood. But if the time should arise
Your head
and
on a
someone
swivel.
feels the need to try to stake claim to your vehicle, maybe your wallet, gas station ready is you're ready to turn around at a moment's notice and defend yourself. Schlegs this morning on our radio show told me that there is a higher, so there's another level.
There's another level
Ooh.
beyond gas
I
station.
had to
ready.
ask him. He goes, his favorite place, his favorite meal is breakfast.
Okay.
Naturally.
Doc Tressel endorsed. They ate breakfast at Georgia. And he said his favorite place to eat the breakfast is
The
the
jump
Waffle
cut was
House.
his favorite
It
move.
was. At Waffle House.
Waffle House ready.
He said Waffle House ready. I go, a lot going on at Waffle House. He's like, bro, you ever seen a Waffle House at 2:30 in the morning? I go, is that on a higher standard or lower standard than being gas station ready? He goes, long dramatic pause. Highest standard.
Highest standard.
Highest standard imaginable.
I mean, every time you've ever seen a clip go viral of a fight at a restaurant,
it's Waffle House.
it's a Waffle House.
And it's usually timestamped 2:19.
You've got people behind the counter. They're supposed to be making waffles. They're flipping up an omelet. And then they just turn around and they're grabbing a chair out of thin air.
Yes.
And throwing it
Yes.
right back
What
in
a
wherever
catch.
it came from. Like you're to be an employee at Waffle House,
I think you have to be a ninja.
you have to be highly
to-
trained. I don't think I'm capable of it.
Waffle House ready.
Waffle House ready.
What could be harder than that, Berm?
This
I know it could be harder than that, keeping a receiver who just saw that someone else was going somewhere and said, I want to go there now.
no, that's not happening. Don't worry about
Are we losing
Okay.
the guys, Berm?
Oh, come on, Berm.
But-
it. Okay.
Berm DM'd them all.
I mean,
He DM'd
I
them all.
don't know.
Hey, Aaron Nolan's supposed to be the dude.
Here's,
He is. He
Here's
got
the real. Let's get to it. Justin is talking about Jeremiah Smith, number 1 ranked receiver in the country, who decided to have some fun with fans on Twitter on Monday after Dylan Raiola was the number 1 ranked player in the
It
country.
ain't no fun if the homies
Former
can't have
Ohio
none.
State
That's
commit Dylan Raiola made a verbal pledge to Georgia. Smith is visiting Georgia this week. He's
Uh-oh.
gonna visit Florida and other places too because that's what kids do.
I didn't do that.
They're
Well, you weren't
not.
allowed to just take money to go on a visit.
Fair.
Gosh, that'd be so
That
great.
would have been. I would have.
It's just real annoying. The whole thing is annoying for a number of reasons. Number one, if you're Brian Hartline, I imagine you're just sick of it. But at the same time, Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver prospect probably
Since Randy Moss.
since Julio Jones. So we're talking over a decade. You're going to put up with it, and that's fine. Number one, Jeremiah is not saying anything, behind closed doors to the coaches that has them concerned. But this is 2023 in the world of recruiting, and it is an absolute blank show all the time. That's the way it's going to be. Jeremiah Smith had in his mind and to the Ohio State coaches committed to the Buckeyes months before Dylan Raiola was ever even conceived of as an Ohio State possibility. So the idea that they're somehow tied together when Jeremiah Smith actually publicly committed to Ohio State 3 days before Dylan Raiola decommitted in December, but also already knew that was happening with Raiola, and he's the guy out there lauding Aaron Noland and putting on Twitter, QB1. That's not an accident. Like when Dylan Raiola is the number
Maybe
one
he's
ranked,
just trolling everybody.
Man.
what he's doing is saying
That would make a lot of sense, Bob.
trolling is apparently big business.
Ooh, big business troll.
That's how
Get the followers
you
up.
get followers, and
You
therefore
catch fish that way.
You do
get
catch some fish
money.
that way.
You
That's
troll
right.
for followers and fish. Everyone knows it.
I feel like I
bottom
annoyed
line
Burn
is
by
this.
even bringing this up.
Just
I
like
just-
Jesus.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like
You
Jesus.
snapped him into gear.
We had an hour-long episode of Talking Stuff on Monday.
Talking stuff.
Where we were breaking
talking
this down.
stuff.
The simple truth is that Ohio State commitments, Ohio State recruits, every single guy the Buckeyes recruit at this point, with the notable exception of like one or two guys in Ohio that aren't going anywhere else, are already committed. There's always going to be discussion about, this guy wants to visit Georgia. This guy wants to visit Alabama. Guess what? All the Alabama and Georgia commits want to visit Ohio State too. Like, that's the world we live in. Georgia's had a 5-star commit from Peyton Woodyard, a safety out in St. John Bosco since January. Last week, he's taking official visits to Ohio State and Alabama. Like, these teams are always, it's just going to be this little carousel, this little whirlwind of pure hell.
St. John Bosco out in California.
That's correct.
Isn't that where Court Williams is from?
That is, yes. And Wyatt
And Wavy
Davis.
Dub.
So these little things.
You got a shot at that guy, Brian?
He's making an official visit. He's a great kid, Peyton.
You just told me that
Hold
my
on
guys
now.
taking
You said
official
our guy
visits,
going
they
to
don't have
Georgia is
shots.
not going to be a big thing.
Ohio State is the place where Ryan Day and Brian Hartline are running the offense. And
Ryan Bry.
Here's the deal. If there's a concern about Jeremiah Smith,
Berm will
it's
know.
that November
know.
comes around and Ohio State somehow is 8-4. Okay, then fine, get a concern.
Are you saying we're going to be 8-4?
I'm saying if Brian Hartline and
Jeez.
Ryan Day aren't in Columbus on signing day, then Jeremiah Smith won't be, and all this is moot. So if they are,
Wait, are they going to fire
Are they going to
Ryan?
fire after 1
Well,
year?
Berman inadvertently walked down a path.
Jeez.
I don't think he wants to be on.
You said there's a lot of ifs and
Hartline and
hypotheticals.
Ryan going down in 1 year.
I'm saying
Man.
if those guys are not at Ohio State, then it won't matter.
What if Ryan's gone,
Who's
but
the head
Brian
coach?
is the head coach?
I'm not sure. The point is,
Did they bring Greg Schiano in?
Oh, gosh, yes.
you know
He's
what
got a
we
checkered pet. No, he doesn't. I'm
James
that's a joke.
Franklin.
as long
Bring
as
him
he
over.
checks, as long as he checks his mirrors, we're fine. What we need to
Bikers beware.
what people need to realize is that a wide receiver who's a 5-star wide receiver, who's the number 1 ranked receiver in the country, and I don't care about national rankings, he's the best prospect in the country in the class of 2024, ahead of Dylan Raiola. Like, this kid is you don't like to put sure thing, can't miss, whatever. Like, you don't, this isn't a miss by any stretch. Jeremiah Smith is going to be a 3-year guy, and he's going to be playing in the NFL, and he's going to be a top 10 pick. So as long as everything is normal at Ohio State come December, then all of this little stuff leading up to December will not matter. That's all I'm saying.
Do you?
Because Georgia doesn't have Brian Hartline. Do you understand?
Yeah, but they.
What if Hartline goes to Georgia?
Ooh.
If Brian Hartline
What if he's
is
the
not
head
Ohio
coach at
State,
Georgia?
Jeremiah Smith won't be. That's a very simple
Okay.
equation.
Is this part of the year?
Where's Ryan Day at in this?
Ryan Day is the head coach at Ohio State.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're still.
And
Yeah.
do you think it's oh boy, we're going to go down the road. It is absurd that there is at least and we've talked about this before. It's not the fact that there's anyone out there who thinks that Ryan Day is on the hot seat or should be on the hot seat. I'm not going to say he isn't if he loses to Michigan, but the fact that there are going to be a group of people who want him fired if they lose to Michigan again is something I can't wrap my brain around. Like, has any head coach, like, can you imagine if Urban Meyer's first job was at Ohio State? How?
It was at Bowling Green.
Right, like Nick Saban, where was his first job?
Toledo.
No.
I
Was
mean-
he at Toledo? Yeah, I was sick. You're right.
These guys, this idea that you have to
Well, probably
be
Ohio
perfect
State.
and
No.
win
Head
every
coaching.
game, like, I can't even imagine the conversations that
So
were.
how many games to Michigan do you lose in a row before you get fired?
It's a great question. I don't know if it matters because next year you can lose to Michigan.
Still win a national championship.
But what if you split with them?
I mean, that's a bigger issue, right? So there's just going to be this. The whole scope of everything changes next
Which
year.
would you rather win? The regular season one or the postseason one?
The postseason.
Postseason.
The one that wins you a championship.
Buckeyes.
That makes sense.
So all this changes next year. So I don't. It's weird to me that people, especially knowing that you go into next year with everything changing, that people are like, "Oh, Ryan Day is not the guy to get him there." Like Kirby Smart lost 3 straight times to Nick Saban, and now he's won 2 national championships in a row. Relax is what I'm saying.
Jim Harbaugh
Jim Harbaugh is not Nick Saban.
got 6 swings at it. So
Yeah.
not suggesting that Ryan Day would get that. I think the fan bases have a different level of urgency and
I
investment.
would have loved to have seen if they would have. Gosh.
He would have got fired in 2020.
There's no doubt he would have been fired.
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
not that. I'm talking about what the tune would be.
If we'd have made a field goal and won a national championship
Yes.
this
Oh, yeah. That's what I keep.
Because then you have
Yeah,
you have the 2 competing factions of
Uh-huh.
well, there was this, but then
Yeah,
you
but we
ultimately got
won.
this.
Yes.
So, which did you want more?
Well, that's what I keep, bringing up elsewhere. Like we had this conversation on the message boards at OhioState.rivals.com. It's like, well, Taylor Lewan's comments and Braylon Edwards, they're on the downside. I was in the Taylor Lewan saying I was in the facility. I saw the players. They're not the same. Like they're on the backside. They're sliding. Would you have said that if they made the field goal and then beat TCU by $1 billion?
Yeah.
Like they'd be the reigning national champion. They were a field goal away from that. Like, how can they be on the downslide?
There's some real smooth brain stuff happening. That's all I'm saying.
Smooth brain.
Love good smooth brain stuff.
Is that a bad thing?
Smooth
I
brain?
think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You want wrinkles. That's where the
You
knowledge
want
is from.
deep grooves.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The deeper the groove, the smarter you buoy.
Okay. I was unaware. I appreciate you bolstering my knowledge.
Science lesson.
Yep. Streaming on the cock. You can learn that and much more.
See, now he's saying
Hey,
it's catching on.
it caught on.
He thought that I
It's
was
like
going
a
to stop.
Thursday.
No,
It's
it
going to
gets-
catch on.
It gets into your head just like his dab.
Speaking of which, you get the delicious
What is the Thursday, Bob? Tell us.
Roosters feathers. They're delicious onion petals.
They're good. I had a few
tasty
during
on
break.
the inside, delicious and crispy on the outside, and you get the plucking sauce, which I
Plucking
call
sauce.
pluck you sauce.
Mm.
It's got spicy
because
horseradish
it's so
on it.
plucking good.
$3 all day long for a Threes Day.
You got to have it. All right, that's going to wrap it up from a rare Tuesday appetizer Threes Day show in the Horseshoe Lounge. Appreciate Nicole Cox for having us, even though she couldn't be here, too busy with meetings.
Ha.
She never stops. But we'll be back at our normal time on
Nicole's
Monday
the best,
next
that's
week.
for
She
sure.
is absolutely the best. That's Jay-Z, Bob, Berm. Bill was here as well, and I'm Austin. We will see you next week. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for spending a little bit of your time with us in the Horseshoe Lounge.